I'm going to do the keynote relatively quickly, in 5-ish minutes or so. I just want to explain, kind of, a lot of it is kind of the introduction, what we'll be covering for today. Please ask any questions, either during, as I'm speaking, put your hand up or interrupt me, or during the break, because, really, especially with a smaller group, it's important that we just tell you what you need to know, okay? So, first of all, these are some of the core things we're going to be covering today. So, we'll be talking about Visual Studio, specifically the web tooling, parts of it. We'll look at NuGet, which is kind of the package manager for .NET. We'll look at ASP.NET, review what's new in ASP.NET, and we'll look at some Azure. Specifically, we'll be looking at Azure websites. You cover a little, Matt covers a little bit towards the end of some more advanced things. Azure is a huge platform, and there are different models for hosting on top of it. And so Azure Websites is kind of the shared hosting model. It's very kind of simple, easy to get started, and then you can grow from there. So Matt will be showing you that later. So first of all, Visual Studio is a lot more than just a code editor and compiler. I've been using Visual Studio since when it was before it was .NET, and I had always just gotten used to thinking of it that way. So I would edit my C# files or VB or whatever files in Visual Studio, but for doing HTML and CSS and JavaScript, I might use it, but I might just use Notepad. I really didn't care, right? They've put a lot of work over the past few years into making Visual Studio the best editor for C#, HTML, JavaScript, Less, CoffeeScript, all these different kinds of web files. So I'll be showing more of that later. And somebody's saying hi. Hey, it's David Fowler. Say hi. Hello from Finland. Does anyone know who David Fowler is? One of the top devs on ASP.NET and a genius, and he never sleeps. Which, what time is it in the U.S. right now? He's always awake. He's actually, I'll be showing some things later on today that he wrote that are some kind of, okay. Go away, I don't want to know about that. I'll be showing some things he wrote in the last session if I move quickly enough. Don't give me a bug report while I'm talking. No! That's what I get for not shutting down Link. So, who here knows what NuGet is? Has used NuGet? Okay, so a lot of people. So the main thing that NuGet originally was designed for was to solve this problem. I'm writing an ASP.NET application, a .NET application, and I need to do logging, or I need to, parse a CSV file, or I need to do some image manipulation, something, right? And so I want to use a library, and so I go and I search around and I find the site and I download a DLL, and it's in a zip, and I dig through it, and then I put it in my application, but it doesn't work because there are other dependencies. And then I go search for those, but there are different versions, and then I need to build some of them. Do you know what I'm talking about? And this is very frustrating. And then, once I've finally got it installed, then I need to go in and configure my application. So I need to go into my web config or my app config. And then I decide I don't like it. So now I need to undo all that, right, if I want to uninstall it. So it's very painful. So what NuGet does is it makes it easy to automatically handle all these dependencies. So you pull in a library, it pulls in all the dependencies, and it cleanly can install and uninstall as well. What we're seeing is NuGet has become a fundamental part of just how we do development in .NET now. So you'll see later when we do file new project in ASP.NET, it just pulls in NuGet packages. The new project templates in ASP.NET are really just a collection of NuGet packages. There's a NuGet package for MVC, for instance. So when you want MVC support, you're downloading a NuGet package. The reason I explain that at the beginning of the day is usually halfway through the day, someone asks, what is NuGet? And I realize that I've lost them early on, so I want to make sure we understand that. So here's kind of the idea, what we'll be looking at. We're going to mostly focus on, well, we'll look at web forms and MVC, Web API, SignalR. So all of these are different ways of using ASP.NET. So ASP.NET is this common core that runs underneath and powers everything. And then we use those to build sites and services. We'll look quickly at, actually, towards the beginning, we'll quickly look at Azure websites. And then through the day, we'll look at some more. And Matt will show you some more advanced things later on. Some things I want to point out is, one, everyone gets free Azure services. You get free Azure websites. There are a lot of things you can use for free. It's very quick and easy to sign up for. If you have MSDN, you get a lot of MSDN benefits for Azure. Which means you can do quite a bit with. So first, this is a slide demo because I want to make it really quick. But the idea is I want to show how easy it is to sign up for an Azure account. If you do this, you can just go to azure.com and that'll take you to it. Or this link here, put that down, that'll make sure that Matt and I get a high five for talking you into signing up for it. So one important thing is that you have a spending limit with a new Azure sign up. So in the past, people were worried if I sign up for Azure, make a site, and then forget about it, then I'm going to get a bill for, €100 or whatever. And it's like, why? And so the idea is now these spending limits, when you create an account, it will not take money out of your credit card until you check a box saying, I'm ready to spend money, right? So this is important to realize. That was something I'm glad they got working there. So go into the Azure site, whatever it looks like today. They update it pretty regularly. Click on Try It Free. It says what you can sign up for. You need to verify your identity. If you think about it, it would be bad if a computer process could go and create thousands and thousands of websites, right? So we want to actually make sure you're a person when you sign up for this. So you go in, you'll put in your SMS number, you'll put in a credit card. Again, a lot of this is just to verify your identity. And in some cases now, you don't even need a credit card to sign up. And it won't take money out until you tell it to. And then this goes back and forth. And then you have an account. And then you can click through here and start creating things. So it really is something you can do in a matter of a few minutes. I have a really cool demo, which I might show later, but in the interest of getting caught up on time, I'm not going to. But this is an example. I'll just show you. Actually, I'll do it very, very quickly. So if we go here, I've got a site, and this site has a lot of different files in it. So this has PHP, ASP Classic, ASP.NET, Python. Maybe that's it. Yeah. Oh, and Node.js also. So, and by the way, we have really good support for Node.js in Visual Studio. I'm not going to be talking about that now. We have great support for debugging, IntelliSense, and all that kind of stuff. So now this site, if I deploy this to an Azure website, now I'm showing one that I've already deployed to before. But really all I did was right-click, publish, clicked on Create Site, and published it. I didn't have to do anything special to configure the Azure website to know, hey, I would like to deploy Python to this, or I would like to deploy PHP, etc. So now, let's take a look. So here, core static HTML, that works fine. Classic ASP. Going down to Node, PHP, and Python. So these are all running in one website without any special configuration. And that's because Azure websites, just by default, are able to process all these different types of files. So if you are used to working in other stacks, here's Node.js, here's Python. The one thing I did in here when I configured this, I did set the handlers up right here. So I configured a Node handler and a Python handler. So, and these are not complicated applications. These are single pagers, but this really is pretty quick to be able to get started. So I think that's just important to realize. Azure is much bigger than just ASP.NET. I'm showing you ASP.NET today, but it's a very complex or a very powerful platform. Does anyone here work mostly with something other than ASP or .NET? So I was talking to these gentlemen here working on Oracle. Oracle and Java. Anyone else? PHP, Rails, something else? No? People warned me you'd be quiet. All right, so if you have an Azure account, you get a lot of credits that you can use every month. And so if you have professional, so this is in dollars, but here's the amazing thing. These are actually in euros for you. So you get 50 euro, 100 euro, and 150 euro, and I'm very jealous. But with that, if it was dollars, that translates to 3 virtual machines you could run for 16 hours a day. Or if you needed to do a big load test, 80 virtual machines, and you could run them for 20 straight hours. 50 HD inside nodes for 10 hours. I have no idea what that means, but I think it's very smart. You could do something incredible with that. And then 100 websites plus a DB, plus database. So this really is a lot of power. So if you have MSDN and you're not using this, I recommend starting. We use this on my team for things like if we have, for instance, the webcams website, the previous one, when we were doing a redesign of it. We just created another copy of it called Design, and we let the designers send us things, and we deployed it, and we looked at that version of it. So it was devcamps-design, and we created another called devcamps-staging, and we used it for when we were making code changes and deploying it and testing. So you can use it for a lot more than just, you can use it for everything that you do during your development process. On the site, if you go into the MSDN site, then it'll show you what your benefits are. An interesting thing here is it's giving you things like Office 365 support.